So I wanted to work a bit and look a bit more closely at twists today, and in particular the sort of the lower rib area, trying to find different ways that we can rotate when we're doing twists, and poses like Parsvakonasana, and a lot of poses, even when they're not strictly speaking a twist, we do this rotation of the chest, and it will be interesting to look a bit more at that today. So but before you do that, let's just sort of settle the body down, let the weight of the body drop to the floor. So we're lying on our backs, legs bent, or if you want to have the legs straight, that's fine. But if there's anything going on with the lower back, any niggly feelings of discomfort, then just keep the legs bent. And we're letting the body be held by the ground, by the floor, by the earth. And also by the wider space. So I tend to talk very much about the gravity and the sense of the earth underneath us, but there's the wider space as well. So maybe you can get a sense of being held in that wider space above and to the sides of us. And connect now with your breath. So that just for now just means noticing the breath. Thinking of the breath as a tool that helps you go from the outer world to the inner world. A point of focus. And before we begin to do any sort of movement, I want you to do just a really, really simple, you might call it a mantra or meditative practice, where we're going to bring the breath into this too. So we're just going to breathe in, and as we breathe in, we're going to say, I am. And as we breathe out, we say peace. And we're not trying to do anything too fancy with the breath, just breathing in through the nose. I am. And on the out breath, peace. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, peace. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, peace. And don't worry, I'm aware that you've come from work, and that might not be how you're feeling. You might not feel that really resonates with what you're feeling in this moment. Don't worry, it's just a practice. And we'll return to it later and see if it feels different. And it's a way of, as well, just another way of looking at your breath and sort of have a sense of it connecting with the bigger other parts of yourself. So use your block now. You're going to pick up your block and put it between your knees, and these are bent, they're not already bent, bend them. We're going to take our arms out to shoulder height, and really sort of quite firmly press down through the hands. The palms are facing up. Can you see me okay, Jennifer? Yeah. So the hands out to arms out to shoulder height. We're squeezing the knees, squeezing the block between our knees, and then we're going to pick the feet up. We're going to really sort of press back through the shoulders, through the arms, and hop your bum over a little bit to the right side. So the knees turn over to the left, and then with control, we're going to let the knees move down towards the floor. We're not going to bring them down. It's not actually very relaxing, this bit. So we're hovering the knees, keep the thighs squeezed in, and try and line up the knees, the hips, the feet, and press back into that right shoulder. So it's going to feel, I think, quite hard work. Not letting the feet or the knees drop down. We're really sort of trying to keep a sense of alignment, everything nicely, neatly stacked. And then bring the knees back up to centre and settle the bum, so the bum comes back to centre too. We'll go the other way. So hop your bum over to the left, and then take your knees, your hips, your feet over to the right. If you're finding it hard to move the legs with control, another technique is to press more firmly into the right arm, as well as obviously we want to activate the left arm as well, but the right arm can help you if you kind of push down. I find that kind of through that downward pressure, I can get a bit more control around the abdominal area, and that helps me maintain the lift of the legs, the hovering of the legs. The belly pulls in, so we're trying to really almost wring out those abdominal muscles. And then come back up to centre and let the feet drop down to the floor. Pause for a moment. Take a little rest, and we'll do that again. And hopefully it will feel a bit easier, or we'll feel more, more satisfaction in it. So picking up the feet, slightly flex the feet. So the legs are very active. Hop your bum over to the right. Let the knees drop to the left. And really a sense of wringing we're really sort of pulling the belly back, narrowing. Squeeze on the legs. Make time to breathe as well. And then back to centre. So the bum comes back to centre. And before we go, just pause for a moment and then hop the bum over to the other side. So to the left side, so the knees go out to the right, and hover. And then back to centre. Let's bring the feet down. Let's readjust the bum so the bum's back in midline. Put your block to one side. So we're going to do the belty version of this. I think we did it last week or the other week. So we're going to put the belt around the right foot. We're going to keep the left leg bent for now. We're going to hold actually, before we even think about taking a twist, let's just take a little moment to sort of stretch out the hamstring. So you can bend and straighten the leg and gently move the foot over towards your face. Connect with your breath again. So now hold the belt in the opposite hand, so left hand. Press into your left foot and hop your bum over to the right side. So that immediately, hopefully it's going to make it a lot easier for the foot to come over to the left side. And then we can slowly guide right foot down towards the floor. Now we're trying to keep all the limbs active and straight. So the arms pressed back into the floor, the right leg, if you can keep it straight. I mean, of course, bend it if you need to, and press into the little toe edge of the left foot. So the left toes turn in the same direction as the right toes. It's a bit different from perhaps some of the other twists we've done. Your gaze can turn back onto the right side. And the belly works here. It's not a resting pose. The belly's working quite hard. And if your foot comes to the floor, that's fine, but hover it otherwise. Now, bring your awareness to the right lower ribs. Now, I don't expect those ribs to be anywhere near the floor at the moment, but can you can even bring your hands to the right hand to the right ribs and sort of gently smooth them back towards the floor. And you can even take the hand over to the left ribs and smooth the left ribs over to the right. So it's a big ask, but you can try it and just see if that helps you get some more movement in the ribs. And then we're going to come out of that. So bend the knee, bring it all the way back up to center. Release the foot, let both feet come to the floor, let the knees drop together. Hands can come onto the belly. We're going to do the other side. So you're looping the ball of the belt around the ball of the foot. And before we do anything else, let's just take a moment to get that nice little sense of releasing in the left leg. Bending and straightening, and you can connect with your breath as you do that. So little. And then bend the right leg so the sole of the foot is flat on the floor. And we're going to use, pressing into that right leg, we're going to hop the bum over to let me put into a mental block. So we're going to hop our bum over to the left side so that then the left foot comes over to the right side, and straighten up the right leg, and the toes turn in the same direction as the left toes, and you're pressing quite firmly into that little toe edge on the right side, and we're aiming for straight limbs. It's quite strong. My belly engaged, pulling in and up. And then you can take your left hand, and again, it's it might not feel like a lot's going on, but we're ribs, the right ribs over to the left ribs further down towards the floor. Such a sense of the chest, the barrel of the chest turning, twisting away from the leg. Well done. And then bend the top leg, the left leg, and bring it back up, returning back center. And we can release the legs, and you can just hug them in for a moment, roll a little from left to right. And then we're going to roll all the way onto our side and come into child pose. So we're going to take a little twist with the child pose. So once you come down, really extend through your fingers. It's not a resting child pose, it's really extending through the fingers. And then move the hands all the way around to the left. And enjoy that sort of nice stretch down the right side of the body, torso, arm, ribs. Breathe into that right side. And then go all the way to the other side. And back to center. And then from here, come up. So your bum lifts above the knees. We're going to just weave the right arm underneath the left. So actually for this pose, try for something different, squeezing your thighs together and your feet together so they can actually press together. And then we're turning the chest. And you can take your left hand, so we've got the right arm onto the left, and then take the left arm to the right lower ribs and see if you can just use the hand to sort of smooth the ribs around. Meanwhile, the glutes, the thighs, sort of engage so they're not moving around too much. And the left arm, you can either lift it up towards the ceiling or wrap it around the waist. And keep pressing into that right arm. So you're turning. Quite a strong twist. And breathe. Breathe into the twist. Sometimes when we do twists, for me anyway, I find it feels I have to make an extra effort to breathe because it's slightly constricting. So it's good to make that extra effort. Even though it might slightly inhibit your desire to breathe. So do make that extra effort. We're going to come out. So come back onto all fours. And then before we go to the other side, just drop onto the forearms and let the chest come down towards the floor. And then back onto all fours, we take the left arm, opposite arm, we're going to weave it under the right. So a bit of tone, thighs pressing together, glutes pressing together, belly presses in, and you really, it's quite strong, you know, you can really press that left arm in and use your right hand to help with that rotation of the ribs. So it's like smoothing the ribs around, turning them around to the right side, and that right arm can come up. You could actually have it on the floor as well if you preferred, or wrap it around the waist. And keep turning if you can. Twists are great, sort of if your digestion is a bit sluggish, sort of that sense of wringing out the body, impurities of the body. And then we're coming out. So come back onto all fours, tuck the toes under, up into downward dog. your heels, your feet together, lift your heels, and then turn your heels all the way to the right side and press into the left hand. So again, that's a little bit more twisting action, so you'll feel it more down the left side, and keep pressing back into that left hand. Bring the heels back together, move them the other way, and keep pressing a bit more firmly into the right hand. Back to centre. Lift your right foot. We're going to step it forward into a lunge. We'll take it nice and smoothly, coming up. So bring your hands out to the side. So the palms are pressing outward, and then bring them all the way up with a big circle of the hands. And we're going to hold the left wrist with the right hand. We're going to take a little side bend. Keep breathing. And then back to centre. We're bringing the hands all the way down. Tuck the toes of the back foot under, step back to downward dog. Lift the left foot. We'll do that on the left side, so step the left foot forward. So come up, turn your palms out again, and bring them up with a big circle. Hold them overhead. So this time we're going to hold the right wrist, and we'll take a little lean to the left. Breathe into the right side. And then back to centre. And actually, as we come out, let's do the way we came in. So we turn the palms out. So we've got palms overhead, just as something a little different. Turn the palms out. But with a bit of flexion in the hands, pressing out to the sides. It's great for things like carpal tunnel, that action for the hands. And then bring the hands all the way down either side of the foot, back to downward dog. So we'll pick up the right foot, step it forward. And we can pause here for a moment so you get a nice chance to linger in the lunge. So if you want to go a little deeper for a moment, things you can do are stretch the back knee away if you want to, pick up the back knee, or even if another thing that feels good sometimes is lighten the weight into the fingertips, so then you're sinking a little bit more into that front leg, or even take up the hands. So all those things can feel quite good if you want a bit more intensity. And then we will bring the back knee down if you've lifted it. Come up, turn the palms out, and bring them all the way up and overhead. So again, we've got that little bit of flexion in the wrists, slightly gives you a slightly more zingy feeling in the arms. Bring the hands down to the heart. Press the elbows so they come up in line with the heel of the hand, and we're twisting towards the right side. And have a sense of those left ribs. We want those left ribs to move as well, and the right ribs. So we can take the right hand for a moment, bring them to the lower ribs, and just sort of see if you can use the hand to help or encourage a bit more rotation of the ribs. The lower belly stays quite strong. So, and then you can hook your elbow over your bent leg. Maybe lift the back knee, that's optional. last week we were talking about the shoulders in this, and always, try and keep the feeling of openness in the shoulder, the front of the shoulder. So there's a little point, there's a bit of bone called the coracoid process in the front of the shoulder, and which if you translate it from the Greek, I think it's a Greek word, it means crow's beak. And yeah, I'll be learning about that little bit of bone that gets buried when we kind of collapse our shoulders. So try and be aware of that. Trying to keep this open, this part of the shoulder open. It's hard to do in a twist. So we're going to come out, bring your hands back to the floor, step back to downward dog. Drop your head for a moment. From here, we're just going to come into a long dog. So step your feet or your hands a little further away from one another, and then over into a plank. Bring your knees down. We'll take a little baby chaturanga. So the shoulders are dropping. They don't have to come very low, but certainly one day maybe they'll line up with the elbows. They don't need to go lower than the elbows, and we'll hold it for a couple of breaths. A little bit trembling maybe. It's fine. And then press back up. Bring your feet down, come back up to downward dog. Lift the left foot. Step the left foot forward. So we can pause here for a moment. Just enjoy your lunge. Adapt it to you. You don't have to go for something stronger. You can just that might be quite enough, just being here. If you want to lift the back knee, you can. So we will come up as we did earlier. So come to an upright lunge and then turn your palms out. And then a little bit of flexion in the hands, bring them all the way up and overhead. You can hold this position, pressing the right hip, thigh forward. Bring the hands down into the heart. Line your elbows up with the heel of the hand, and we're turning to the left side. So again, we're going to be a little bit aware of these ribs, see if they can move a little bit more than. So you can take your left hand to the right ribs and just gently see if they will turn. They might not. Hands back together, and we're hooking the right arm over the left knee. Again, the coracoid process is just at the front of the shoulder. That it attaches to the pectoralis muscle. So even if you don't know the word for it, but you'll know exactly where it is because we look at it a lot. I just learned about that, so I'm sharing that with you now. So try not to collapse that part of the body. You can pick up the back knee if you want. One more breath here. And then hands down. And we're going to just step back into a plank. Bring your knees down again. Pick up your feet, and we're slowly descending into another little chaturanga. So it's a baby one, so you don't have to, be gentle on yourselves. Push back up, bring your feet down, bring your bum back towards your heels. So lift your foot. going to step that right foot forward. We're going to take our hand, the right hand, to the inside of the right thigh. So just press into that right thigh with the right arm. And then we can lift the left arm. And we'll do something a little bit different. So we'll take the hand behind the head and let the elbow, see if the elbow can kind of move back a little bit behind you. It might not go very far. And once again, we've got some awareness of the ribs. There's a little bit of turn of the chest going on here. I've got the back knee down. If you want to lift the back knee, you can. Swap hands, so we bring the left hand down, we'll lift the right arm. And can you lean back a little bit? So we're putting a lot of weight into that left hand, but can you with the stability that you get from that, squeeze the thighs in as well, keep the hips quite even. Can you lean back a little bit with the right, a bit more recklessly than you would perhaps normally? Okay, I think that feels really nice sometimes to do that. You've got the support because you've got the thighs supporting you, the left hand supporting you. And bring both hands down. Bring both knees back together and we'll just drop down into Anantasana again. So the bum stays over the knees. And you could squeeze the knees and the thighs together so you've got that sort of stability. If you're feeling, actually, let's maybe do something a little different for this one. So take your elbows wide for this one. A bit easier on the shoulders, but it also feels very good if you press down through the hands and the elbows. You can just kind of, I think, maybe stretch your chest a bit further forward than more easily than when the arms are straight. Which should feel really nice for the chest. And it could be a really big bend in the elbows, but it could be more subtle as well. Also, from that position, it's easier to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Let's see if you can do that. And then slide your hands forward. We're going to come all the way down onto the belly. Head down. Slide the hands back to your lower ribs. Pick up the shoulders so the front of the shoulder moves away from the floor, and as you do that, shoulder blades can squeeze in, lift the chest. Cobra pose, Bhujangasana, and we've done it before where we're kind of squeezing the thighs, squeezing the glutes gently. Move your gaze so you're looking back towards your left foot. It may not move, you may not see it. In fact, I'm struggling to see my left foot here. See. So you have to do a little bit of a twist to do that. And then go the other way to the right side. And then back to center, press into your hands, push back to a little baby child pose just for a moment, and then all the way up into downward dog. Lift your left foot, step forward. So we're going to bring the left arm onto the inside of the left leg, right hand to the back of the head. If your shoulders are feeling sore, then don't go so high with the arm. some awareness of the lower ribs again. And now bring the hand down, we'll go to the other side. So the left arm's lifted, the right thigh squeezes in towards the left. Right hand very solid, firm against the floor. So then with that stability, you could maybe get a bit sort of boldness to lean back, so that you're opening that top shoulder a bit more than you would. Let the gravity actually will draw you back with that top shoulder. And then down, hands either side of the feet. You just step back, so both knees are down, and we're going to do a little baby Chaturanga. So let the elbows sort of squeeze in a little bit, shoulders drop, not very far. But of course, if you want to go further, then of course you can. Maybe the shoulders will line up with the elbows. And then you're going to press yourself back up. And we'll come to a kneeling position. So we're just sitting back on our heels. And pause here and just allow the sensations from what we've been doing. It's quite challenging, I think, all those twists and maybe even a baby Chaturanga is quite strong on the body. So bring your hands into your heart. We're going to take another twist. We're turning to the left. And we're going to bring the right elbow, and it can either come down onto the thigh, or it can come all the way to the floor. A block might be handy here. If you feel like you're never gonna, it's really awkward for you to bring the elbow down, then having it on your block could be, just gives you a little bit of, so it's nice to have something to press into without feeling complete, so that you're not completely kind of scrunched up and compressed. Again, it's the ribs are turning, the belly pulls in. And the top shoulder, naturally it does want to roll in a little bit, but can you resist that? So it's quite open. And breathe, even though it might feel awkward to do so. We'll just pause before we go the other way. Rest your palms, backs of the hands on the thighs. Go the other way when you're ready. So bring your hands up into the heart. Line your elbows up with the palms of the hands and turn. You can take that elbow. Also come onto the thigh. Well done. Coming up. And then we'll just come back into the downward dog. And actually if you're using a block, have it at the front of your mat. You'll be glad of it in a moment. Tuck the toes under and into downward dog. Lift your right foot and step it forward. And step the toes of the back foot out a little. So the toes, the foot is flat on the floor. And we're going to take our block, if we're using a block, and bring it to the outer edge of the foot, but maybe even back a little bit. So we're doing triangle pose. The other option is to have the hand on the leg. You could also have the hand on the floor. Depends how you're feeling in there, how long your arms are, how wide your stride is. So we're going to take so we've got the right hand down. We're going to take the left arm to the lower ribs, and we're going to use that arm to just turn the chest, to encourage a turning of the chest. And as you do that, really push down through the right hand. This is where using a block's helpful, because you've got something to push into. I don't know, it just feels like there's more potential for movement. You're a bit more. You're a little higher with the block, so there's more room for movement. And then we can take that left arm up towards the ceiling. And let's explore taking it back a little bit. So we're opening up the front of the shoulder area. Bring the arm over the ear, so you're lengthening out the side body. And then take a circle with the arm, so it comes in front of the body, back up towards the ceiling, and then we're going to just take it to the back of the waist, so you're like a little bit of a bind to help you turn the chest. I think it's perhaps a bit easier to turn the chest from that shape. So we'll take a Parsvakonasana now. So you can release your hand, just rest it on the side body, the left hand, and the block comes to the outer edge of the foot. And I'm needing to slide the back foot away a little bit to come into that shape. So probably need to too. And then with the left arm, you can bring it in front of the body, find that line over the ear. Keep reaching, really reaching away with the fingertips and pressing back into the outer ankle of the left foot. And the chest turns. We did a bit of this. Obviously, we've done a lot of this, so maybe it feels a bit easier to get that turn in the chest. Well done. And bringing the hand down. Cool. So both hands are either side of the body. We'll just sort of loosen off that front leg, because it's quite hard work holding the Parsvakonasana. So you can straighten it up or keep a bit of bend in the knee. Pausing here, the right leg. Here, move forward and step back into downward dog. So we're going to do it all on the left side. So when you're ready, lift the left foot and step it forward. So we're using the block. block doesn't have to be right up by the foot, it can be back a little bit. Tuck the toes of the back foot under. So, sorry, the back foot is flat. We turn the toes out a little bit. And you don't have to have a massive stride. You could go for a bigger stride if you want, but it's not necessary a triangle to have a huge stride. We're really pressing into the left hand and turning the ribs, and then we're going to take the right arm. We're going to turn, help increase that little sense of turning the ribs. And the arm can come up. Now you can lean in a little bit so that arm sort of leans back a little. And then the arm can come up over the ear. Bring it all the way in front of the body. And gently tuck it round the back of the waist. If you've got long enough arms, your hand may come into the front of the thigh, which is just really dependent on how long your arms are. It's not a failing in any way if you're not reaching that far. Just these binds are just to help you turn a little bit more. So we will transition from this into Parsvakonasana. So let's unwrap the arm first of all. So Parsvakonasana generally is a big wide stride, so you're probably going to want to take that back foot away. And then the block's going to come more to the outer side of the foot, so the block usually comes forward a little bit. When you're ready, you can take that arm over the ear, press back into the little toe edge and lift with the fingers. And breathe into the waist, very much stretching the ribs. And we turn the chest a little bit. We've done loads of preparation for that, so maybe that feels a bit easier. Very strong, this pose, Parsvakonasana. Just means side angle. Utthita Parsvakonasana, intense side angle. And then we're going to come down. Bring the back knee down and relaxing. So yeah, doesn't have to be the front leg rigid straight. You can have it a little softness into it, letting your body drop over the leg. So move your body forward, so you're more in a lunge. Press down through your hands, step back, bring your knees down. And then from here, we're going to just sit on our bums and take our legs up in front of us. So we're going to bend the right knee. And we're going to press the foot into the thigh of the other leg. Or if that is not right for your knee, just have the foot a lot lower on the leg and pad up as well. Pad up under that right leg. So yeah, obviously you don't want to strain your knee. So we're going to lift up. So the fingertips can rest on the floor. Lightly pressing down, lifting up. And it's a forward bend, this pose, but there is a little bit of a twisting action here. So we're going to take the left hand and just gently encourage the ribs, left ribs to move over a little bit. And then we're going to take that left hand and bring it behind us, and the right hand can come either onto the leg or onto the opposite side. So you're on the left side of the left leg. And then we're just going to sort of experiment with coming forward a little bit. It might not be very far. It's a bit. Try and keep even weight into your sitting bones. Pressing back into your sitting bones, and as you move forward. So any little movement forward is accompanied by a little bit of pressure back. And then maybe it's going to feel really nice for you now to just kind of just drop down into this. If you want to kind of just go a little bit floppy and let your body just drop down. Slowly come up. So we're going to take the belt here. We're going to take this left leg and we're going to take it out a little bit to the side so it's a bigger angle. And then we're going to use the belt and just loop it over the left foot. So we're holding the belt in the left hand, looping it over the left foot. And there's a little bit of a side bend going on here. And obviously just bend the knees if you need to. If the hamstrings are very tight, and we're going to take a little bit of time here so that there's time for the body to be able to move into that side bend. You might feel that quite quickly you want to bring your body down a bit lower. So one useful thing is you can prop up the elbow with a cushion or the block. The left elbow. I like that option. Having something to push into is generally useful, I find, for these sort of forward bends and side bends. And then the other arm, you can take it up and reach for the foot, which might feel like out of the question at the moment. So if it does, then the hand can be more, supporting the head. Your gaze can turn up. If your neck allows it, it can turn up towards the ceiling. I'm going to come up. These poses are lovely sort of homeworks if you ever feel like you want to do home practice, which hopefully you do. I like these poses for that. So you bring the arm up first and then gently bring yourself up. So the reason they're good for homework is that I think they take a little bit of time. You don't want to just, you kind of have to be a little bit mindful about it. And they're measurable. They're very measurable. So you can sense when you're making progress. So we're doing the Janu Shirshasana. Janu Shirshasana is more of the forward bend. So bring the left foot into the inside thigh. So the other option is to bring the foot lower on the leg if your knee isn't going to cope with this tight, very short angle. Are you away, Jennifer? Bye, nice to see you. So we're going to take a little bit of a twist. So we're taking the left hand, rest it lightly on the leg, and the right hand behind you. Press back into the fingertips of the right hand as you reach forward. So there's always that feeling of lengthening in two directions. So got a double whammy, forward bend, little twist, gentle twist. Can you slightly turn the ribs, those lower ribs that we've given so much attention to today? Maybe it's really nice to just sort of drop down, let gravity, sort of surrender to gravity and see how that feels. If you're sensing in this position that the straight leg, the right leg, is the tendons around the knee just feel like they're overstraining a bit, then just bend that leg or put something under the knee. Sometimes that happens with this pose. You kind of slightly feel like you're straining the tendons. So we're going to come up. So if you were doing this for your home practice, you could give yourself sort of 3 minutes or something either side, or even up to 5 minutes. We're taking the wider angle now, and maybe you're going to enjoy using something, if you've got something to put underneath your arm, if you want to lead into. We're looping the belt around the ball of the foot. And we'll pause a bit to give the side body time to and with this pose as well, there's a lot, so much. It's amazing how many of these poses do call for that. You can just bear that in mind with your hands to help assist a little with the movement of the ribs. And left hand can come up. You could rest it behind the head. or reach for the foot. So I remember when I was doing my teacher training, our teacher would come and literally put his hands around your ribs and kind of hoik you round, which felt like quite an intrusive thing to do when I was trying to do it on other people, but it does feel really good, and it's amazing how much movement you can get from the ribs, through the ribs. So the movement is for the ribs to turn up towards the ceiling. And your gaze can also turn to the ceiling if your neck permits that upward movement. So quite intense. Ready? Begin to come out, so bring the arm up first. And then gently bring the head coming up. Just bring the soles of the feet together. You can press down through the little toe edge and let your body drape your body over your legs. It's more of a, just sort of relaxing. It's quite nice to weight, if you're able to drop weight of the arms into the inside leg, that can feel very good. And connect with your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. We'll try a little alternate nostril breathing. So very often I'll do this with the hands, but I'm going to just give you a slightly more challenging, but also quite a nice, interesting thing to try. So you're not going to use your hands, you're just going to use your mind's eye. So you can, in fact, you can come and lie on your back. It's nice to just take a complete rest. And because we'll be doing Shavasana, make sure you have the things that you need for Shavasana, like a cushion, blanket, extra layer. So the practice is to breathe in through the left nostril, breathe out through the right. And I'm aware that that might feel quite difficult to just snap into that. So think of it as a visualization, and then when we have that intention, very often the breath will just follow. So just visualize the breath, maybe coming in with light through the left nostril and ascending up towards the midbrain, the forehead, around the back of the sort of around the third eye. And then on the out breath, it's leaving through the right nostril. Sorry. We're just going to take a few of these easy breaths in through the left. Have a sense of the breath ascending on the in breath. Out through the right, descending. So the apex of the breath as it comes in is around the midbrain. Ascending in breath, descending out breath. Ascending in breath, descending out breath. We're going to swap sides. So, breathing in through the right nostril, breathing out through the left. Breathing in through the right, sense of the breath ascending. Breathing out through the left, sense of the breath descending. And now let go of the technique. I'm going to just breathe in and out through the nose. You can still have a sense of the breath ascending towards the forehead, descending on the out breath. We use that little very simple mantra, I am peace. And use those words, see if you can somehow synchronize them with your breath. So breathing in, I am. Breathing out, peace. So I wanted to do a little experiment with you. It's a little meditation to accepting the difficult parts of ourselves, it's called. And I think I've sort of hopefully set you up for that, to be feel, like to be in the right vibe for that, to feel okay. So it's just quite a simple thing. So we're just continuing as we are, allowing ourselves to feel, supported by the ground. We're lying on the floor. Feel that sense of being supported, being held by the ground, by the floor. By the space around you. And as the breathing practices that we just you've been using it have been to sort of create a bit of space and to create that sense of peace. So continuing with that easy breath, we can let go of the mantra for now, just continuing with the easy in-breath. And have a sense that as we take each breath, that we're making a little bit of space within. Space for the different parts of ourselves. We often think about ourselves as a coherent, but very often there are, multiple senses that we have of ourselves, and maybe we don't always feel comfortable with all of those. So as we take a breath in, we're just making a little bit more space for those multiple parts of ourselves. Be tender with yourselves. And allow those parts to emerge. Could be tendency to get cross or irritable or anxious, very shy, very forgivable, very human traits, but things that perhaps we don't have a lot of patience for within ourselves. So allow these, in this moment, we're just trying to allow them to emerge, float to the surface. And look at those aspects with eyes of friendliness. And it can be helpful to think of a part of yourself as literally as an extension of you. So we're going to just do a little experiment where you can visualize that part of yourself sitting in front of you as another you, literally sitting in front of you. And you can look into that, the eyes. And maybe even hold the hands. And now we're sending unconditional friendliness to this part of yourself. Compassion. With every exhale, making a little bit more space for this part of yourself to exist. And now take a hand and just place it on your heart. And offer yourself some kindness. silently repeating, may I be peaceful. May I be in acceptance. In acceptance of who I am. May I be whole. Silently saying to yourself, may I be peaceful. In acceptance of who I am. May I be whole. When you're ready, you can begin to bring some small movements back into the body. Hold on to your side and rest there for a moment. And slowly coming up to sitting. And we'll just take a comfortable seat, and we'll bring our thumb and forefinger together and lightly rest the back of the palms against the legs, knees. A little downward pressure through the back of the hand to help you lift up. So there's more openness here around the chest, around the shoulders. Finish by bringing the hands together and just rest them against your forehead, against your third eye. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.